Hey everyone, welcome to the first mechanical engineering, or also known as MEME, lesson. Today we're going to be talking about and introducing the topic of computer-aided design, also known as CAD. So computer-aided design is the use of computers to aid in the creation, modification, analysis, or optimization of a design. It's something that's widely used in engineering, especially in mechanical engineering. So today you'll be learning how to use a specific CAD software called Onshape. Onshape is a free CAD software that we'll be using for our lessons from now on. So we're going to pose a challenge for you at the end of the lesson so that you can get started on learning how to use Onshape. And please remember to email a version of your challenge to us.
Hi there. So here we have my Stirling engine. This is something that I built on a computer-aided design before building it in real life. And that's one of the things that's most important about computer-aided design. You know that you can make everything work, have all your movements work, all your materials function how you'd like, before actually going and implementing. This has 111 parts, and it was incredibly complicated to build, but incredibly rewarding as well. All movements you can see here. I changed the transparency so you can see things move around, namely the piston. And this is exactly how it works in person as well. So heat is applied to this side. It creates a pressure difference because the particles are moving really fast over here, pretty cool over here. And so it pushes the displacer over here, cools down, air gets pushed through this tube, and that moves a piston. And so it pretty much just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning as you apply heat to the side. So you're going to go to onshape.com/product/free and get started. Here you can put in your information and say that you're a student. Put in your school name, and that's all right if it's high school. Make sure you let them know you're not a robot and create your account. After you do that, you're going to get an activation email and follow the link to make your password. Once you get started, you're going to get to here. Please watch this training video, and it's going to really help you know what's going on.
Hey guys, my name is Terrence. I'm going to be guiding you through today Onshape and how to create a new project. So you guys have already made an account and it should bring you to this window. As soon as you get to this window, you're going to go to the create button and you will just create document. And you have to name anything you want, but I will name it this for now. After you make your document, it should bring you to this page. Some of you guys have maybe worked with SolidWorks before. I personally have used SolidWorks before, and I've never used Onshape before, but it's very similar and is not. If anything, it is easier to use than SolidWorks. So today we're going to be making like half a wheel, I guess we could say. So I'm going to be guiding you through some of the features that this Onshape software has. So some of the features we're going to do include first is making a sketch. But before we do that, I'm going to guide you through how to navigate the actual software here. So you should try to use a mouse when doing this, because using a mouse is so much easier than using your fingers on a trackpad, because you need to be able to right click, mouse button click, and other things like that. So using your left click, this is going to be the same thing. So you can like select on different things, like here up in the taskbar. Using your right click, if you hold down your right click and move your mouse, you will be able to move your figure in 3D space. So that's what you're going to be using your mouse button for, and then your right click button for, and your mouse button click would be used to move the whole figure itself. You're probably not going to be using the mouse button click, but the wheel click, but you're going to probably be using the right click most often. So sometimes you may get stuck in a weird view like this. So the way to get back in that nice 3D kind of like geometric view, I'm just going to hold Shift and then press 7, and it'll bring you back to this nice isometric view. That was what they call it. So let's begin first by creating a sketch. So first we're going to press the sketch button. And as soon as you press the sketch button, you're going to see a bunch of options show up. And you're going to see in the blue box here, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but it says sketch plane. In this sketch plane, that means you have to choose either the front, top, or right plane, depending on which one you want to choose. I'm personally going to do the top, as I always like to look top down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double left click on the top face, and now it says the top plane has been selected. After this, I'm not going to press the check mark yet because I want to create a sketch. Just clicking the sketch button and clicking the plane sets you up in order so now that you can draw a circle, draw a line, a rectangle, and anything like that. When I like to sketch, I like to look down at the face rather than looking at it from a 3D view. So what I do is I wait till my cursor highlights the plane I want. I right click on it, so now you see the top plane has an orange line around it, so it means you highlighted it. I'm going to click View Normal To, which means I'm going to look down straight at it to where it's a flat rectangle. So now it looks like this. As soon as you do this, we are going to go to the top bar, and I'm going to select Circle. You can do any of these buttons, but mostly you're going to be using line, rectangle, and circle, as for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the center point circle. In order to make this, you choose your center point. So I'm going to choose that as my origin here. When I click it, it's going to let me create a circle as big as I want. So I'm just going to click an arbitrary random point on the plane. As soon as I click, it's a blue circle. When something is blue, that means it's not defined and you haven't really specified how big the circle is. So I'm going to specify this circle to be, so in order to specify the dimension of it and how long it's going to be, or the radius or diameter, you're going to click the dimension button up top here. As soon as you click that, you are going to click on your circle that you just made, click again somewhere else randomly, and now you're going to see that they highlight the measurement of the circle. So this number is just the arbitrary random number that you had it set the circle to before. But say we want to make our wheel to be 5 inches in diameter. So I'm going to type the number 5, press enter. It's going to reduce it down to this. After you're done with this sketch, we're going to leave it at that. I'm going to press the check mark. So as soon as we're done with the sketch, we just press the check mark, and then it'll be left on the plane like this. So to make things more organized, so you know what you're referencing, you can go to sketch here, the sketch that you just made, sketch 1, rename it, and just call it base circle. After you have your base circle, you can go back to your 3D view and see what it looks like. If you go to your 3D view, you see all we did was create a circle sketch on the top plane. But a wheel is not a 2D thing, it's a 3D thing. So what we do is, since we're out of the sketch, we can go up top again and look for the first button, which is called extrude. You're going to click the extrude, and you're going to get a bunch of options. All you have to do is click on the thing that you want to extrude. Extruding just means bringing something from 2D, kind of bringing it up and lifting it upwards to make it 3D. If you're a little bit confused by that, you'll see what I mean in a second. So you click extrude, and you click the sketch you just had before. You're going to click on the circle, and now you're going to see it goes up, or if you reverse the direction by clicking this arrow here, it goes in the opposite direction. I'm going to personally work upwards, but as soon as you do this, you can set the depth of it, which is basically the height. So I'm going to set this to about 2 inches. As soon as I press enter, it gets higher. You can always change this by doing dimensions or even just left clicking back or right clicking on the extrude feature you just have. As soon as you're satisfied with how long or how high you want the extrude, you can click the check mark. You can leave it at that. So now if I move around the figure, you can see I basically have a cylinder now. Okay, so Shift 7, back to the nice view. From here, I'm going to show you guys that you guys can make a sketch not just on the top, front, or right plane, but you can actually do it on the face of the cylinder. So what you're going to do is click Sketch again, click on the plane you want. I'm going to click the top part of the cylinder here. You'll see that it's orange, so you know you clicked it. Let me double left click on it. And then I'm just going to now view it normal. Now remember, don't click the check mark yet because you didn't create your sketch yet. All you do is click the plane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click View Normal To. You can left click out of this. You already selected it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another circle. So I'm going to click Circle again. Same thing as before. Click the origin. Bring it out to some random point. Then I'm going to go back up to the dimension. Click on the circle you just made. Randomly click somewhere on the plane and set our distance now. So I'm going to set our diameter to 4 inches since before we set it to 5. Now we're going to see we created another circle. I'm going to click the check mark and I'm going to click Shift 7 again. Now you see we have our cylinder with the circle sketch that we just put on top of that cylinder. So now what we're going to do is we can rename it just so you don't get confused. It's going to be top circle. As soon as we do that, we're going to go back to the extrude, click on the circle that you want to extrude. So this little circle here, I'm going to left click on it. Now you can extrude it even higher. So I'm not going to put it too high, so I'm going to make the depth about, let's say, maybe 0.25 inches. Enter, and now it's smaller. Click the check mark when you're done with your extrusion, and now you see you have basically two cylinders on top of each other. One big cylinder that we made before, and the small other cylinder that we just extruded on top of that extrusion before. I'm going to Shift 7 again. From here, we're going to go into another feature called the Extrude Cut. In SolidWorks, it's called Extrude Cut, but here they don't have an Extrude Cut feature. So what all you're going to do is, it's going to be the same button, but instead of adding, you're going to take away from the thing you made. So same thing again. I'm going to left click on Sketch. Now I'm going to click a sketch plane. So I'm going to click the very, very top of this. Left click on it once. Don't click the check mark yet on the sketch because you haven't made your sketch yet at all. So I'm going to right click on that plane and View Normal To, so we get a nice flat view of what we're looking at. From here, I'm going to create another circle. Click on the circle feature. Again, click on the origin. Click some random part on the circle. Go up top here to the dimensions. Click on that circle. Click somewhere on the plane. And now I'm going to set that diameter to 3 inches. And now you're going to see the circle extend out. So we're done with this sketch now, and now we want to make it go into the cylinder. So we're going to left click on the check mark on the sketch and Shift 7 to see what we have now. So you see here we have the big cylinder, small cylinder, and we have that circle on top of the one we just made. I'm going to rename this sketch so we don't forget. This is the cut circle, I'm going to say. So what we're going to do is click on the extrude again. I'm going to click on that circle. But remember, we don't want to add this time. We want to add it. We want to go into the thing, the cylinder. So if we look at it, you see how it's coming out? We don't want that. What we're going to do, instead of add, we're going to press remove. So it's going to automatically know that since you want to remove it, it's going to go in. So it's automatically going to put the directions for you. Well, if you look, you can see kind of like the 3D view how far it's going to. I want to go all the way through. Now, you could, I guess, mathematically add up how high you made the first one and how high you made the second one, add them together and just put that as your height, and that would go completely through. But you don't need to calculate that because there's a feature that Onshape has for you where you can just go straight through without even knowing what the height is. So instead of clicking blind, you're going to go to this option drop-down menu here, you're going to go up to next, because this is telling it to cut until it meets the next face, which is the bottom face in this case. We're going to click to up next, and if you see, it completely cuts through the whole thing as we have here. So I'm going to click the check mark here, since we don't need to care about the height, since it's going already through, all the way through. Check mark, and Shift 7 again, and now we have a nice view. From here, we can make the wheel look a little bit nicer by making these edges here smoother. So right now they're like very I don't know how to describe it, but they have a lot of corners and it's very sharp. So what we're going to use a fillet function that will smooth out the edge. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to push Shift 7 so it looks nice again. If you go to the top left here, it's this one right here, the fillet function. All we're going to do is left click it. And all this does is you just click an edge on this wheel that you want to make smooth. So for example, if I click this outer edge, you will see that it looks smoother now. It might be hard to see with the orange line right now, but and you can also zoom in. I forgot to mention before. You can zoom in with your mouse wheel. So if I zoom in here, you can see that the outer edge of this wheel is now smooth. And you can click multiple edges, I believe. So if I click this edge is now smooth. I click this edge, that edge is now smooth. And I can also click the bottom edge here. So by doing that, I clicked all the edges I wanted to become smooth. And you can also choose the radius of how far you want this kind of smooth cut to go, because it's basically a circle at the end. So if I want it big, I can go bigger, but I'm going to go a little bit smaller, so I'm going to go 0.1. Click enter, and you'll see it smooths out a little bit smaller now. I'm going to click the check mark. Done. Shift 7, and now you can see this kind of rim / wheel that you just made. So play around with the functions that you have. Play with the extrude, play with the extrude cut, play with the dimensions, and yeah, so these are just some of the basic features that you can use in Onshape. We'll definitely be going over more of these features, but today we just went over the sketch function, choosing a certain plane, going over the extrude, circle, and extrusion cut and fillet functions.
So, hey guys, we're coming up at the end of your lesson, so we want to give you a bit of a challenge to do during the week when you get a chance. This will help you improve your CAD skills. Always challenging yourself, trying new things will make you better at CAD and mechanical engineering as a whole. So we want you to design a Lego piece, a small Lego piece. Basically, it's a rectangular Lego piece or whatever Lego piece you want. It has to have pegs at the bottom for the other Lego pieces to fit in. It's got to have these round pegs. You can make it whatever dimensions you want, but preferably you would make them so they look even. And yeah, so take a shot at this. Try to think about what tools you would need to use. I would recommend maybe starting out with a rectangle, building up from that, and then maybe drawing on those surfaces to create these pegs and these holes. So yeah, take a shot. If you run into a lot of trouble, I also created a video going through the process to build.